Hello and welcome to the show. We are back with another Hot Wheels Showdown, and our vehicle of choice today is the Charger Hellcat. Power should certainly not be an issue with this car, with there being 707 to begin with. However, grip and control, that might be another story. We'll have to wait and see how it goes on that front. The plus side with all of this is that we are likely to get some very big tyres on this car. We can get some nice Hot Wheels race compound tyres to begin with. We are also going to, of course, have a wider body kit. There is an option. You can have the Rocket Walk body kit for this car. Not particularly crazy, however, it does make it, yes, it's a little bit wider. It's by no means the craziest of the body kits. Now, by having this on the car, it allows us access to bigger tyre widths. You can go up to 355s at the rear. Actually, I was expecting a little bit bigger. I thought they were getting 395s on the back of this. I was apparently wrong. Still, 355s are huge tyres on the back of this car. It's going to need it, because it's going to have a lot of power going through those rear wheels, and 325s at the front. Perhaps even more importantly, potentially, having 325s as well as the front, going to hopefully give us a nice amount of turning. Now, we are rather limited in terms of PI. You can have the kind of lip spoiler at the back. It looks quite nice with that. However, we need downforce. We need a downforce on this car, so naturally we are going to go for the Forza Aero. Now, after those upgrades, the next most important thing is going to be brakes, because we've got to get a lot of car to try and slow down. We're also going to want race suspension. We're going to want race anti-roll bars and so on. I also do really want, ideally, the roll cage. It is going to make it a little bit heavier, and weight is a problem with this car. It's going to be heavy. Now, admittedly, it is going to have, I'd say, a decent amount of power. It isn't quite as much power as the Valiant Charger or as the Twin Mill, but it is going to have more control. I'm thinking do we go sport weight reduction? I might be able to get some weight reduction going on with the likes of exhaust. We can save a little bit there. Might be able to save a little bit with intake, for example. Now, we are likely to want, just to be on the safe side, an upgraded gearbox. Actually, let's have a look what the gearbox. I mean, it reckons it'll do 2.8 seconds to 60. I reckon it's going to about 204 miles an hour. So I will grab a different gearbox just so that we can adjust the gear ratios. It will be needed as, yeah, we want the car to be able to make the most of its power around our loopy Hot Wheels circuit. Now, we can get some more power parts in this car, which is nice. Nice to see. Maybe, I doubt we're going to get a supercharger. Oh, not quite. It doesn't even lighten it any either. So it's looking like we're going to get almost 800 horsepower out of this car. Now, I can't complain. 800 horsepower in your muscle car. I mean, you can complain. It's probably not going to go around a corner great. However, we will give it a try. I think we're going to be fighting this a fair bit. 809 horsepower with a PI to spare. So let's try and sneak on a flywheel. In fact, if we sneak on a flywheel and then a drive line, hopefully that will all work, and we can stick on all of the drive lines. So yeah, we are up to 809 horsepower. Oh, I might as well get the clutch as well. A little bit of weight saving done. I'll just go back as well. Before we finish, I will go back and just see if we can. We can't even sneak the last stage of flywheel on. Bugger it, let's do that. I wonder if we can. No, we can't. We can get 817. I think we'll stick it as it is. 809 horsepower, monstrous amount of torque as well, but it is £4,000. But big tyres, I think this stands a chance of certainly going fast. So we have come to the skyscraper takeoff circuit with our Challenger Hellcat. I'm going to have 5 laps to try and go faster than a 1:35.0, a time set by both the Civic Type R and a 911 GT2. Now, admittedly, both of those cars are a lot more handling orientated than the Dodge, and the Civic would have had a better power to weight ratio as well. That had some 600 horsepower. While it was front wheel drive, and 600 horsepower is a lot for the front wheel to deal with, it was, yeah, 600 horsepower, a couple hundred down on this, but it was considerably lighter. However, the Hellcat does have some very, very big tyres we might be able to make the most of. I'm very curious actually to see how this car might fare around this circuit. It doesn't feel too terrible to be driving at the moment, which is always nice. Always nice when the car isn't too awful, especially on the opening lap. We were running that one very, very close to the wall. Now, we can't carry as much speed through these corners as we did with the Porsche. It's never going to work, is it? How are the brakes as well? That's a good... yeah, brakes are pretty solid. Brakes are... yeah, not too bad at all for getting this car slowed down, although I was pushing my luck on the exit of that corner, managing to run out wide and bump the wall. Just how fast can we? But we don't actually need to brake through there. Well, I don't think it is carrying anywhere near as much speed as the Porsche. You really don't have to worry about getting on the... oh dear, I twisted on takeoff. That's not going to go well. Hellcat to the sea. It's now a swimming cat. And, yeah, cat's not a particular fan of water, so that's, that didn't go well. Yeah, I just fractionally shuffled the car to the left by accident as we went across the boost pad, and that was always going to end in a disaster. That's something that we have got to try and not do. Oh, Christ, brakes are not going to be fun there either, are they? Okay, so what have we learned on this opening lap? That the boost pads are scary, that the Hellcat can get into quite a lot of trouble around this circuit relatively easily, although it isn't the oversteer monster that you might... I say that as we're going very sideways through our kind of third corner there. It's not quite the oversteery, horrendous mess that you might expect it to be, but it also isn't as brilliant through the corners as the Porsches. No surprise, of course, on that matter. But yeah, these big tyres are certainly helping with our... oh, that's too much speed as well to take through. Okay, we'll bear that in mind. Not that I particularly want to be taking that line anyway for future reference, but it's useful to know if we can't get the car turned into the tighter entrance in that split section. Yeah, got to try and find the sweet spot on the breaker. You try and push it much more, and well, that's the sort of thing that happens with some of these corners, like the one we're coming up to here, for example. I don't actually have to brake through here. So I might not even need a downshift through there. Fifth gear, I think, will probably just do the trick. But yeah, I'm surprised at that in some ways for the Hellcat. We're going to land nicely. We are going to land nicely and catapult it up towards... it was a fairly solid 200 miles an hour. Not the quickest we've seen, but not too shabby at all as we're going to launch ourselves out the other side. It's going to be quick down here, 212 miles an hour. I don't think it's quite as quick as the Civic, to be honest, down there, which is amusing to say the least. So 38.3 on that lap. Not the best lap from me in terms of driving, I will be honest. I think while this has got a lot of power for the PI, it's... oh, we're going to skate off into the wall trying to carry too much speed through there as well. Yeah, for the PI, we don't have the power to weight ratio, and that is the often very, very critical thing. Yeah, it was a little bit scruffy. I have no doubt I can get this into the 36s, although if it's... it doesn't like that crest either. Through there, we're trying to we're trying to carry as much speed as we can through these corners because it's going to need to. Brute force alone doesn't work. You need some brute force. Subaru Impreza is a great example of that. The Impreza was very, very quick through the turns, but it was a long way down on power. I mean, it has half the power, near enough, that this Hellcat has. And while it was lighter than the Hellcat and so on, it couldn't carry the overall speed enough. It could, great through the corners, but we were lacking any sort of straight line speed. So we need a balance between the power and the cornering. And this Hellcat, I wondered if with that bit more power we might not be too shabby. It's a little bit on the conky side around there. We don't really need 8th gear at that point. There's no need because it's not buzzing the limiter in 7th at all down there, because 7th will go up to about 212. I will change up to 8th just about as we get on the brakes. It was a little bit better lap, struggling to get the car turned through. It felt like a bit better lap. I think it was a faster lap Oh, we're struggling with the Hellcat. These big cars are not quite working. We went a very different route with this car. I was hoping for big tyres, high power, might do the trick. That was... I mean, we were about, I don't know, 4 or 5 centimetres the wrong side of the track there. And once you get that wheel on, it's not the loss of grip on the sand that's the problem in this car. It's not the problem at all. It's as that rear bumper catches on the sand, the car bounces, and at that point you have no control, and it will bounce up until it runs out of, well, plastic, and when you find the wall. So that's a that's an interesting one to have to deal with. With some of these faster corners, it doesn't feel that bad. We're not having to horrendously slow down. We're not having to worry about oversteer, spinning the wheels out of them, which is what I feared we might have to. Yeah, it's one of the problems you might get with these high-powered cars. It's not really happening with the Hellcat, and that is a nice thing. It means that now that we have got down to, well, a lap. We have a lap. We need to get a clean lap out of this vehicle here. That's all we have, as we're going to hit the boost pad up to... That's a mega boost. Up to about 210 miles an hour, in fact. Okay, if we can repeat that one, that would be nice, because we're going to carry mega speed down here. We're then going to be wary that we do have to get on the brakes a smidge earlier into the final corner, because we're going a couple of miles an hour quicker. Right, this is the lap. This is the lap that matters in the Hellcat. We have got to find, well, any time that we can. We can't afford to run wide. It is a high pressure run, as we've had before in these build series. It was on the edge, but not falling off it. So that is it's where you want to be, really, right on the limit, but not quite over it. Now, are we going to... I'm going to have a small confidence lift. If you're flat out over there, I think we just lift up the front end, and I think that is causing us the problem. You lift up the front end, and then we lose all of the steering, and that is not what you want a car to be doing at all. It's okay with the Pumobile doing its drag racing, lifting up the front wheels, but when it comes to a circuit race around a technical Hot Wheels track, we don't need the front wheels lifting up off of the ground. So far, so good. So far, so good in the Hellcat. Get it turned. And again, get on that power as early as we can. Now, we're going to hopefully get as good a run across here as we did last time out. It isn't... well, it's better than we have done, but it wasn't quite the 210 catapult that we got. Still, it's a better run overall in pretty much all the other places. We're relatively fast down this side as well. On the brakes we go, only just stopping the car. We did pull it up in time. Across the line, it's another 36.6. That is a... oh, God. Got another tie. I was going to say, that time sounded familiar. We have another tie on our hands. The kind of mid-36 area is apparently getting quite busy, with the powerful but slightly heavier cars liking this area. The Hellcat can do what the Hellcat wants to be doing, which is, well, spinning its power away. Well, admittedly with these tyres, but it doesn't want to spin its power away quite as much. But that's 36.6 will be an identical time to the Jaguar, the XES. Completely different cars. This one, massive tyres, massive power, but a fair bit of weight. And yeah, I was perhaps expecting a little bit more from the Hellcat, although I did also fear it might be a more difficult car to drive. So overall, perhaps not a too bad a conclusion. Yeah, get it right, and it doesn't have too many issues with the corners at all, quite frankly, around here. I think perhaps the power is nice, the weight is just too much. With the PI that we have to work with in the Hellcat, it is just, yeah, we can't get enough power to compensate for the weight, or if we take the weight out, we're not going to have any, well, I say we're not going to have any power. Power to weight ratio is going to stay around the same. So there is, yeah, not much that could be done with the Hellcat. Still, that is going to put it into a joint 6th place. It's only a couple of tenths down on that twin mill. Does get beaten by the Impreza. Will, though, beat the Rolls-Royce Wraith, the Valiant Charger, and the Ford Deluxe. It looks like the 36s are going to be a very, very crowded area of this table. It's definitely going to have to be, I think, small and light sports cars the way to go. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.